I'm going to ask you a question that I'd like you to give some serious consideration to. What do you want? And I mean that in the grandest sense possible, as in, what do you want for your life? Fellow Toastmasters and honored guests, if you ask me that question, my answer is simple. I want to age well. And we have a lot of great examples of how that's done. Look at our club. So many of our members are growing into their potential and selflessly sharing of themselves with the rest of us. Actually, if you look at Toastmasters in general, you'll find that it is replete with people who are a lot like wine. They just get better and better with time. That said, aging well is a bodacious thing to want because it implies an ability to maintain certain aspects of youth, certain characteristics of youth, like the ability and the desire to go out and seek the new. Unfortunately, for most of us, this is not the case. As we get older, there is a natural tendency to shrink, to collapse into the familiar. But chances are, we didn't start out like that. Chances are, when we were young, we ventured out into the world excited and ready to go. We experimented, we failed, and then we tried again until eventually we stumbled across our version of success, our winning formula. And then we did that over and over and over again until what was once new and novel becomes familiar, becomes safe, becomes routine. That's how it goes for so many of us. And you know what happens is we then lose the need to go out and seek what is new. And who can blame us? I mean, why would you go out into the unknown and risk the inevitable failure that comes with exploration? Why in the world would you want to seek the new when you've already found what works? I'll tell you why. It is important, extremely important, to foster that adventurous spirit because it keeps us young. Scientific studies have shown that being open to new experiences cultivates something called cognitive flexibility, which is something that allows us to multitask. It's something that allows us to roll with the punches of life. It's something that allows us to solve problems using solutions that are outside of the box. Cognitive flexibility is something that is abundant in us when we're young, but tends to diminish as we age. Now, fortunately for you, no, for me, fortunately for me, that's not the end of the story. Because just as you can improve your physical flexibility by exercising and moving, so too can you improve your cognitive flexibility. And there are a ton of ways to do it. And we'll talk about 3 of those ways tonight. The first way that you can improve your cognitive flexibility is by switching up your daily routine. And this doesn't even have to be anything big. It can be something small, something so small as using your left hand to brush your teeth when you would normally use your right. Doing something like that stresses your brain in a good way. You activate neurons that you wouldn't normally use, and that is good for cognitive flexibility. Now, the second thing that you can do is embrace the hard things. There is value in doing the things that challenge us. Lots of times, these challenges are just opportunities for growth. Now, I know a lot of you understand me. You know what I'm talking about because so many of us have decided to take on that very difficult task of becoming better public speakers. That is hard work, but so very rewarding. By joining a club like Toastmasters, we provide ourselves with a platform from which to share our thoughts and insights. And we connect ourselves to community, which is great for cognitive flexibility, and it is essential if you want to age in style. Now, the third thing that you can do to enhance your cognitive flexibility is to expose yourself to new people and new places. And just last week, our very own president, Mr. Will Way, our club president, told us the story of how he ventured out to Switzerland on his own, how he met a ton of new people, and how he experienced that country and himself in a totally different light. By his own account, that trip expanded his world and allowed him to grow. Now, those three examples, switching up your routine, embracing the hard stuff, exposing yourself to new people and new places, what do they have in common? They show us the importance of continually stretching ourselves and not becoming stagnant. And it makes sense. Think about it. You need to exercise and stretch to have a body, a physical body that is flexible and limber. Why in the world wouldn't the same principles apply to your mind? Aging well is really a misnomer because it's not about aging well, it's about living well. And I want to live well. I want the tenor of my life to be defined by excitement, by a winnowing of all the things that weigh me down. And so I challenge you, if you're into that kind of thing, of growing and becoming a better person, I challenge you to be daring. I challenge you not to shrink, not to collapse into the familiar, but instead to expand and to blossom with time. Because if you live well, then you can't help but to age well too. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you.